Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. My name is Lisa Rohr, and I'll be one of your hosts today in today's webinar. While we're waiting for everyone to join, would love to hear where you're sitting today. I'm here broadcasting from Cambridge, Massachusetts, right next to MIT Sloan School of Management, and delighted to be here with you today. So if you can pull up, this is a good chance to practice. Pull up the chat box on your screen and tell us where you're sitting today. It would be great to hear from you. So when you do that, you can go ahead and chat to all panelists and attendees instead of just all panelists, so that way everybody can see you. Great, we have a few people that are starting to chat in here. Many of you are just saying to all panelists, so if you change that little toggle to all panelists and attendees, we can all see it. But I'll just tell you who all is here today. We've got Washington D.C., São Paulo. I saw Hyderabad. I see Houston, San Francisco, Baltimore. Another from Brazil. Welcome everyone. We have someone from Houston, another Brazilian from Rio. Welcome. It's great to see everybody here. Already we're on 3 continents, and I think this is one of the amazing things about these online programs, is creating this global classroom together around a topic that we share an interest in. We've got Guadalajara. Welcome, Diego. It's great to see you here. Thank you very much for joining us today. I think we'll go ahead and get started. It's a few minutes past the hour, and I know some people are still joining, but let's go ahead and get started. Before we move into the first activity in this webinar, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Lisa Rohr. I'm the Director of Design at Emeritus. I'm here with my colleague, Eric Newman. Eric and I work with Emeritus, who is a partner and a collaborator with MIT Sloan School of Management Executive Education on this program. And I will introduce our counterparts at MIT in just a couple of minutes. So welcome everybody. We're really glad you're here, and we're excited to tell you about this new course on cybersecurity that we're creating. So with that, let's get into just a little bit of a warm-up. And what I'd like you to do is just take a moment and go into your browser and type howsecureismypassword.net. Once you have brought up that password or that website, go ahead and just type in maybe an old password that you have. Probably don't use a current password, but type in an old password and see how long it would take somebody to actually hack your password. So just go ahead, type that in, and you'll immediately get a response from the website as to how long it will take. We'll give you just a minute to do that. And once you've done it, come back here in the chat. And again, if you change the to line to all panelists and attendees, tell us how long it would take somebody or a computer to actually decode your password. So everyone try that at howsecureismypassword.net and see. So Jorge is saying 33 million years, excellent. But Srinivas has got 42 minutes, so a little bit, a big change there. 3,000 years from Paris, 9 hours from Shale. Wow, Jamie, 7 quadrillion years. So you can see that there's a huge variation here. And you can go back and change and play around with your password. Raghu, you've got 3 minutes. I think there's some room for improvement perhaps on that one, right? So you could sit and play with combinations of words and letters and characters, and look at the differences between between very simple passwords and more complex passwords. So, so that really gives you a sense for the security of different passwords. And I would just encourage you to think for a moment, if all employees in your organization were to do this test with their current passwords, what do you think that the average time to crack that password would be? How much? So I assume that at least some of you here are pretty sophisticated about passwords, but if you had to go out to the average employee in your organization, for instance, what do you think? You could type that in the chat box if you want. I'm curious, what you think your employees would do with this kind of a test. And maybe it's something that you want to take back to your employees and ask them to test their passwords. So let's talk just a little bit about some facts about passwords if you don't know them already. 20 passwords actually constitute about 10% of all passwords in use. So that there are a set of 20 passwords that are really commonly used. And so those are passwords that may very well be in your organization that make it very easy for somebody to come in and hack it. And that statistic comes from an analysis of 11 million stolen passwords. That's how they know that. The experts say that the minimum recommended password length is 13 characters. So that's the minimum, and that's the length that you want to avoid being compromised by brute force hacking or password cracking. And then about 40% of organizations actually store passwords electronically in some kind of Word document or spreadsheet. So, so there's a lot of variation we see in how people are using passwords, and definitely these statistics suggest a lot of vulnerability. So, so this was just a little exercise to get us thinking about cybersecurity, what it means for us personally, what it means for our organization. And that is a good segue into our webinar today. I want to introduce our speakers from MIT Sloan School of Management. Christine Gonzalez, who is the Assistant Director of Digital Programs at the MIT Sloan School of Management. Christine has expertise managing complex issues, and she's currently sharing her knowledge of digital learning capabilities and instructional design to create diverse online learning platforms. And she's involved in the delivery of several high-quality online educational programs. I'm so excited to have you here today, Christine. And we've also got Bella DiMambro here, who's been with the Sloan School for about 5 years, and MIT Sloan Executive Education since 2015. And she runs a variety of programs both on-site and at the MIT campus and internationally, as well as digital deliveries. So, so they have a lot of experience here, and which they're going to share. Before I turn it over to them, I did want to mention how you can communicate with us during this program. We've already got to experience the chat box. There is another way that you can submit questions to us, because one of our goals today is to really make sure you have the information you need in order to make a decision about whether or not this is a good course for you. And so we know there's bound to be questions. In your little Zoom bar, you'll see a Q&A box. That's the best place for you to put questions to us. And we have reserved a bunch of time at the end of our presentation to answer those questions. In the meantime, we also have program advisors here that will be answering some of those questions by text while we're speaking, but we'll save the majority of the questions till the end. But if you put it in the Q&A box, that just helps us manage the question load and make sure that we're getting to as many of them as we can. So do put questions into the Q&A box. You can also chat into the chat box, but that's not the best place for questions because they get lost sometimes in the chat. All right, so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Bella to talk about today's agenda.
Great, thanks, Lisa. Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you're all having good Mondays. I just want to run through the agenda today and what we're going to cover. We'll go through the learning outcomes, what you can expect to learn in this program. We'll do a little bit of a deeper dive into who you'll be learning from, our fabulous faculty, what you'll be learning each week. We'll go through the assignments and the key dates and sort of what you can expect for deliverables. And then we'll, of course, leave time for Q&A at the end. And so during this program, you will learn how to select and use the right frameworks to enhance cybersecurity decision-making in your organization, how to assess risk, improve defenses, and reduce vulnerabilities in your organization. And you'll also learn how to speak the language of cybersecurity and how to communicate effectively the learnings from this program to your technology teams and colleagues, and to ensure your organization is as cyber secure as possible. And you will be learning from some fantastic faculty here at the Sloan School during this program. Stuart Madnick is the John Morris McGuire Professor of Information Technologies at the MIT Sloan School, Professor of Engineering Systems at the MIT School of Engineering, and the founding director of cybersecurity at MIT Sloan. Madnick's involvement in cybersecurity research goes back to 1979 when he co-authored the book Computer Security. Currently, he heads cybersecurity at MIT Sloan. Carrie Perlson is the executive director of cybersecurity at MIT Sloan and has held positions in academia and industry, including Babson College, the University of Texas at Austin, Gartner's Research Board, CSC, and AT&T. She founded KP Partners, a CIO advisory service firm, and the IT Leaders Forum, a community of next-generation IT executives. She is the founding director of the Analytics Leadership Consortium at the International Institute of Analytics. Perlson began her career at Hughes Aircraft Company as a systems analyst. Michael Siegel is the principal research scientist and director of cybersecurity at MIT Sloan, and is currently the co-director of Productivity from Information Technology Project. Siegel's research interests include the integration and use of information from multiple, and the use of modeling and data analytics to analyze complex systems. His work has been published in many areas, including the use of information technology and financial risk, cybersecurity, digital business, healthcare information systems, and many more. Now, you heard me mention cybersecurity at MIT Sloan a couple of times just then. It is a research consortium at MIT run by our program faculty, and I want to take just a moment to highlight it. Cybersecurity at MIT Sloan, or CAMS, focuses MIT's uniquely qualified interdisciplinary faculty and researchers on the fundamental principles of cyberspace, cybercrime, and cybersecurity applied to critical infrastructure. CAMS is a confidential academic forum in which leaders and managers can benefit from the experiences of CSO and CISOs across multiple sectors. And our faculty have pulled from their research and learnings at CAMS in designing this program. So you'll really get a sense of CAMS and their teachings there.
Great. Thank you, Bella. We also, in addition to our incredible faculty, we have 2 learning facilitators who will be taking part in this program. And the learning facilitators will be there accompanying you on your journey through the material. And we've got Christina Cooper, who will be part of this program. Christina is a GRC and cybersecurity consultant. GRC, if you're not familiar with it, it's governance, risk, and compliance. So she consults across those different types of subjects. And prior to becoming a consultant, she worked in cybersecurity for a financial services firm, as well as for the city of Baltimore. And interestingly, Christina is a certified ethical hacker. So lots of interesting things, insights to share, I'm sure. And then we have Anthony Farrow, and Anthony started his career as a software engineer and is now the Senior Director of Solutions Architecture at Empow Cybersecurity, which produces cybersecurity solutions to assist companies in developing more advanced protection against cyber threats. So as you can see, in addition to faculty, you have some practitioners in the area of cybersecurity who are going to be there working with you throughout the course. Okay, now we'll turn it back over to Christine to talk a little bit more about the experience.
There we go. Thanks, Lisa. All right, so the Cybersecurity for Managers experience, it's designed for business managers and executives. This is not a technical course, though it touches on technical pieces or insights. It is focused more towards business managers and executives, but you do not need any prerequisite or any significant specific skills to attend and participate in this program. So before we go much further, I think we should just take a pause so that we can briefly talk about one of the myths that is addressed in this program and also debunked in this program. And that myth is that cybersecurity is an issue for just IT personnel, and it's their problem and they're the ones that have to deal with it, and no one else in the organization is responsible. But you know, that's really not the case. Cybersecurity is the responsibility of every single person in an organization, everyone, top to bottom, bottom to top, no matter who you are or no matter what your role is. Since everyone is a contributor to the success of that organization, everyone therefore is responsible for cybersecurity. You can have the best firewalls, the best antivirus applications that software can buy, but if there's no leadership that builds a strong culture of cybersecurity, one that promotes password hygiene, awareness of scams, shared responsibility, then those tools are absolutely meaningless. So with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about why this program might be a good fit for you. From this program, you'll take away a playbook, which is a document with clear and actionable next steps to build a cyber resilient culture in your organization. This playbook is based on your specific learnings that you can then take back to your work. Our hope and our goal in creating these materials for you is that you'll use these learnings from the program and take immediate actions to protect your organization, your employees, and yourself from numerous cyber threats that do exist. And I shouldn't just say protect, because the truth is that cyber attacks are inevitable, unfortunately. And that is why you should not only learn about protecting data, but also be thinking about detecting attacks that may already be underway. So I want to just talk a little bit about the MIT approach in all of this and where that fits in. So at MIT, our motto is mens et manus, which in Latin means mind and hand. Our teaching and research philosophy is practical application. Put into practice what you learn. This motto implies that we are not only thinking about great things, but we also do great things. And MIT believes in generating new ideas and building on them to improve lives around the world. That's what sets our programs apart. We don't solely stress the knowledge of how to do something, but rather we require you to actually roll up your sleeves and do what you learn. That's the approach we take on all of our programs and what you'll certainly find with this cybersecurity program. The cybersecurity program is mens et manus in action. It's learning that can be actively applied in your organizations and your homes right away. Each week, you'll work through your module and then, in the playbook, reflect upon and build on those learnings. By the end of the program, your playbook will be full of ideas that are going to be a powerful resource to you, curated by the faculty, by your fellow program participants, and by yourself. Carrie Perlson, who Bella mentioned, one of the creators and faculty presenters in this program, she feels so passionately that the product of this course is a conversation between you as a business leader and your chief security officer. A conversation in which you can ask informed questions like, as an organization, how are we measuring cyber risk? What quantitative and qualitative frameworks are we using for this? This program is a learning experience full of energy, engagement, and storytelling. Based on the faculty's extensive knowledge and ongoing research in the field of cybersecurity, this program is interactive and current. It maintains the rigor and feel of what you would expect when attending an MIT program.
Okay, great. Thank you, Christine. And now that you've heard a little bit about the general approach and the various elements that we have in the program and how this is really supporting the MIT model of mind and hands, we wanted to give you a little bit of a taster for what you can actually expect in the different modules, what types of things will you learn, and what might you go through if you join us for this journey. We'll start with Module 1, which is about understanding the threat landscape. And here you'll learn how to identify and discuss common threats and practices in cybersecurity. I find this unit fairly chilling, but also very enlightening. And here's one of the charts that we show you in this module. And you can see that this is meant to be the good guys on the green, the bad guys on the red. And so even though we're developing a lot of good defenses against cybersecurity, in many ways, the bad guys are getting worse faster than the good guys are getting better. So that gap is starting to grow. And so that's one of the things that we talk about. Why is that the case, and what's going on there? It's full of examples and insight into the nature of cyber attacks, why they're difficult to thwart, and covers topics everything from the phishing emails that you undoubtedly have gotten to blockchain. So talking about a range of different cyber threats. And the goal of this module is really to help you to start identify those threats in the organization. We then, that's kind of setting the table. Then we move on to Module 2, which is about the NIST framework. And the NIST is the National Institute of Standards and Technology. The cybersecurity framework is a well-recognized and accepted framework for thinking about cyber management priorities. And in Module 2, we have an interactive case study about a manufacturing firm that experiences a cyber attack. And through that case study, you gain an understanding of the framework and how it's used. One of the things that I really like about this module is that we've brought in an industry expert who was actually one of the original architects of this framework to help debrief the case study and talk a little bit more about the framework, where it comes from, and how it gets used. So that's what we do in Module 2. Once we get to Module 3, we really start to talk about risk and how to identify risk and discuss ways to apply frameworks for measuring risk. So one of the key concepts from this module is thinking about risk as a combination of uncertainty and exposure. And so I just grabbed one of the concepts here around operational risk. What are the components of operational risk? How do you think about this, from processes to people, systems, external events? So this gets into a lot of nitty-gritty detail about figuring out what your risk exposure is. In Module 4, then, we start to look at how to budget for cybersecurity and think about improving their defenses and improving your defenses around these topics. So one of the main elements of Module 4 is a simulation that is designed to help you think through issues of resource allocation over time and how effective that allocation is for maximizing your organization's defenses. So here you really have an opportunity to allocate resources in different ways, from prevention and detection and response, and to look at how that unfolds over time in terms of protection and ROI. In Module 5, and this is something that I think is quite unique about and important about this course, is about building a culture of cybersecurity. And so when you think about being resilient to cyber attacks and building a more resilient organization, so much of that comes down to people and people's behaviors, which are influenced by culture. And so here we look at an actual culture model and think through how that impacts people's behavior and what are the various tools that you have as a manager to influence that behavior. One of the key components of Module 5 is a case study about a cybersecurity initiative at a major insurance company. And in this module, you'll really think through the elements that contribute to a cyber-aware culture and how you can leverage those insights for your own organization. And then finally, in Module 6, we look at some of the ethics around cybersecurity. And in particular, this module explores the trade-off between privacy and security by examining an in-depth case study about Apple and thinking through the implications of various positions in this controversy as to whether technology companies should enable law enforcement to access user information. So big questions here around how to handle some of these very thorny issues around privacy versus security in Module 6. It's quite fascinating and thought-provoking. Now, one of the things we find in many of our courses is that we have a lot of experienced people are participating in those courses. And therefore, a hallmark of the method and of the courses themselves is to get people talking to each other and sharing ideas. So one of the ways we do that is a resource sharing discussion board, and we have other discussion boards as well, but this is one of the ones that, that will provide really a great opportunity for people to share what's worked for them, what are some additional resources that you found to be helpful in thinking about these issues, and really to learn from a global perspective what's going on and what people are doing around these issues. So that's another part of the course. Finally, I want to talk about the cybersecurity playbook, which is something that you will work on every week in the course, as Christine mentioned earlier, and you'll contribute to it. So every week, we'll take the concepts presented in the course and push you to apply those to your own organization around a set of questions and tools and frameworks that help you really take this back and apply some of these concepts to your own organization. So some of the key items in this playbook include thinking through your own objectives for cybersecurity management, thinking through that NIST cybersecurity framework and what it means for your organization, looking and identifying and measuring cybersecurity risk to figure out how vulnerable are you and how vulnerable is your organization. Some ideas around creating that layered system of defense and to help protect your organization against cyber risks, ways that you can develop and drive that cybersecurity culture, and finally, considerations for balancing privacy and security. So at the end of the course, you'll be able to print out all of your ideas around this playbook and take that back with you so that you can use it going forward. I'm going to turn it back over to Bella to talk a little bit about the certificate of completion that we offer at the end of this program. Bella?
Thanks, Lisa. So at the end of successful completion of this program, you will have earned a digital certificate of completion issued by the MIT Sloan Executive Education. More excitingly, I think this program also counts towards one of MIT Executive Education's either executive certificates or advanced certificate for executives in management, innovation, and technology. These certificates are a formal recognition of your professional development and commitment to continuous learning. Pursuing an executive certificate allows you to further your business knowledge and skills on a convenient, flexible schedule of your own design. This certificate can be pursued in 3 areas of concentration, providing executives with the opportunity to tailor their education plans to meet their own specific interests and business goals. The 3 tracks we offer are strategy and innovation, technology operations and value chain management, and management and leadership. In order to earn an executive certificate, you must take 4 programs, 3 of which must be concentrated in a single track, and one of which must be completed here on campus at MIT. We also offer the advanced certificate for executives in management, innovation, and technology, which we refer to as an ACE. This special certificate is earned by participants who attend 25 program days, whether in person or online, and complete at least 2 programs for each of the 3 tracks within a 4-year period. programs taken to earn an executive certificate can also be applied towards an ACE. Cybersecurity for Managers, this program here counts towards the management and leadership track and is worth 2 days towards an ACE. Upon successful completion of this program, your credit will be automatically tracked by us, and so if you enroll in future programs at MIT Sloan Executive Education, we'll be keeping track and we'll notify you when you've earned your ACE or executive certificate.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bella. So what are the important dates that you need to know about this program? The course starts on May 9th, so that is coming up here surprisingly quickly. I can't believe it is almost May already. So May 9th is when the course starts. And then all assignments are due on June 26th. So that's the time period we're talking about for this run of the course. There will be other runs as well, but to participate in this run, it's May 9th is the date to remember. So in summary, in this program, we're going to cover a number of items to assist you in the management and leadership of cybersecurity in organizations. We'll bring together key concepts from the learning modules to create an action plan or a playbook of what you'll do next. And this will enable you to have more informed conversations with your CISO, Chief Information Security Officer, or other technology leaders in your organization. Each module includes an exercise designed to allow you to apply these key concepts and insights to your own situation. And so so as you walk away from this, you'll have that list of actionable activities to implement in your work, team, and organization from this point forward. You can register at executive.mit.edu, but we're also posting in the chat box a link to the registration page so that you can sign up there. If you have questions as well, we have program advisors that you can have a one-on-one conversation with to learn more about the program and find out if it is right for you. So that we have that as a resource as well to you as you're making a decision about whether or not you would like to pursue this program. Great. So I think we have left plenty of time now for Q&A, and I know that there has been some Q&A that is it's been coming and going through the Q&A box. So so I'm just bringing this up now, but Christine or Bella, if there's anything that you wanted to get started on while I'm looking at this, we could do that. Or I can just jump in here. Okay. So Marcello is saying that work at a risk management department of a bank. Do you think that this course is adequate for me, and why? And I'm going to ask Eric, my colleague Eric, who worked with us on the program. What are your thoughts about somebody in the risk department of a bank? I think it might be very helpful, but I would love to get your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we have, as Lisa mentioned, we have the whole of Module 3, which is just dedicated to risk and talking about ways to measure and manage risk. But the course overall is geared toward, management's role in cybersecurity, but it's also very relevant to anyone that has decisions to make based around risk and technology. Private consultants certainly will get something, and those not associated with an organization. It's a great way to upskill and make yourself more marketable.
Great. Thank you. Let's see, we've got another question here about, is the course suitable for cybersecurity managers? And I think it certainly would be, and I encourage my colleagues here to jump in on that question as well. I think it's important to recognize, as Christine said earlier, this is not meant to be a technical course that will give you lots of technical material or technical information about cybersecurity. It's more managerial in its approach. So that I would say it would be suitable for cybersecurity managers, with that caveat that it is not meant to be a technical course. So if anybody else has anything they want to add to that, I welcome that. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right, so someone else is asking about working in a marketplace company. I want to make a new framework of cybersecurity for my company. Is joining this program, will that give an outcome that will improve my company's cybersecurity? This course alone will not help you improve. It will help you talk to technical people that can put in place some technical solutions, help you think about behavioral changes you can start working on in your company. So it's certainly a great step in that direction. So Eric, what are your thoughts about somebody who's just interested in putting in place? It sounds like maybe this person is starting from scratch. And in terms of any other considerations you might offer on that one, Eric?
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, it sounds like this person is certainly a great candidate and can get a lot from this course. If most of the terms already seem familiar and you're already, these learning objectives are already things that are underway in your organization, then, perhaps you want to look to a course that's more technical in nature. But if, these concepts we talked about in the modules are pretty new to you, it's a great this course is a great place to learn about new ideas and culture building, and just hear what these three instructors have to say about the state of things and where we're going, and their personal recommendations for building a culture of cybersecurity.
Great, thank you. Another question that came in is about how the mechanics of the program work on a weekly basis. So let me take a moment and just clarify that a little bit. So this is a mixture of synchronous and asynchronous work. It's mostly asynchronous. So what we've done is we have filmed and produced a series of videos from the faculty that you saw at the beginning. And those faculty videos deliver a lot of the content. They are supplemented then by exercises, activities, case studies, discussion boards. Those are all happening kind of around the videos. And what we do is we give you, we open up new information every week. So the course is divided into 6 weeks. And every week, at the first day of every week, we open up more material for you. That keeps the cohort of participants working mostly together and on the same things at the same time, so that we can have discussions on discussion boards about the material and those kinds of things. And then we have our learning facilitators who are there to support you, answer questions, give you some feedback on written assignments and those types of things. So that gives you a sense for how the program will work. So hopefully that's helpful.
Lisa, can you also, sorry, yes. I didn't mean to interrupt. Can you also talk about grading a little bit and how assignments are assessed and the kind of format for doing all of that?
Sure. And I'm going to ask Eric to jump in here as well. Because we have these cybersecurity playbook assignments and some other assignments. Grading is done by the learning facilitators, but Eric, can you give us a little bit more color around what they can expect there on the grading side?
Sure. Yeah, and we don't even say grading so much. It's completing the course. There's numerous interactions and things throughout the course. Well. And resource sharing, where you're posting different resources on the discussion board. So to complete this course, participants will participate in 6 mandatory discussion board posts. And then the playbook is, somewhat confidential in nature. So that's a resource that the course guides you through filling out, but you're not expected to submit that because, like I said, generally it has information that might be considered sensitive in it. However, you do write a brief executive summary at a broad level about your learnings and your takeaways from the course, which is then submitted to the learning facilitators at the end of the course for a complete, non-complete score. So the sum whole of what must be submitted is 6 discussion board contributions and the executive summary assignment.
Okay. Great, and importantly, we don't grade. There isn't a final. I see Raghu is asking, is there a final quiz or test or exam? This is more. Our focus is much more on your learning and less on evaluating that learning. And so we ask you to, as Eric said, to participate in the course, be an active participant, be an engaged participant, and that's what leads to the certificate. So.
Let me just add, we realize that people do like quizzes and want some self-assessment. So the course does have a quiz associated with every module. That's a self-study quiz that you fill out. It's auto-graded. You get some feedback generated based on your answers from that. So for people that want to practice, test themselves, say, hey, how much of this am I retaining? That is a component of the course.
Right. But you're not evaluated on that.
I'm sorry, Lisa.
Yeah, go ahead, Christine.
I was just going to ask Eric, how much time would you say it takes a participant in a week? So how much time do they need to invest on these assignments, kind of going through the modules each week, watching the videos, doing some of the assignments? What is the level of commitment in terms of time for them?
Yeah, we designed the course with in mind that most of you all that are interested are working professionals, busy lives. So the amount of time you would put into this course we're suggesting is 3 to 5 hours a week.
Right. Okay. Let's see, I'm just looking through the questions. Here's a question for our colleagues at MIT. Srinivas is wondering about the difference between this certificate and the executive certificate, both or MIT Sloan, both our MIT Sloan certificates. I'm trying to understand what Srinivas is asking here, but is there a difference between this certificate and the executive certificate?
Yeah, let me clarify. So at the end of this program, you'll earn a completion certificate. That is a certificate issued by MIT Sloan Executive Education. It's the same type of certificate you would earn if you had completed one of our programs on site. That individual program certificate then feeds in to earning you an executive certificate or an advanced certificate. The executive certificate requires completion of 4 programs, one of which must be completed on site. The others can be completed via one of our online programs. And then the advanced certificate, you can earn through 25 program days. And so some of our online programs have different program days associated with them. This particular program will earn you 2 program days towards an ACE, or you can come to campus and earn program days there by attending our programs there. Let me know if I can clarify or if there are parts of that aren't clear.
Thank you. All right. Here's some more people trying to figure out if this is a good fit for them. Here's somebody who's saying that their company has 86 different locations, I think is what this question is saying. And how will this program, how can this program help me improve cybersecurity at my company? And I'll give a little bit of thought there, and I welcome Eric and Christine and Bella's thoughts on this as well. I think one of the concepts in this program can be applied to large and small organizations. In fact, the two major case studies we have in the program, one of them is a relatively small company, and one of them is quite a large insurance company. And so you can think about how these apply to both. I think the other thing around lots of different locations is that culture is a great way to inculcate some of these behaviors that you're trying to get people to make. So we'll give you a lot of thoughts on how to create that culture and how to spread that culture across locations. So it's definitely a challenge when you're distributed like that. But I think it's certainly can give you some ideas for first measuring your vulnerability, as well as how you can start to change people's behavior around cybersecurity issues. Anything anybody else would add to that around sort of large versus small companies and what can be helpful here?
The only thing I would add to that, Lisa, is cybersecurity risks don't recognize, it doesn't know whether you are a large organization or a small organization. It just knows that you are an organization. And so it therefore affects all types. It doesn't really care or necessarily appreciate the size of your business. It just knows that you are an entity. So it doesn't, I would just add that piece to it.
Right. And I would say also with industries, so it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. Again, our case examples are, one is a manufacturing company and one is a insurance or services company. So that the ideas and concepts here are broadly applicable also across industries. So, all right, so let's see. So here somebody's asking if you have to be actively working to participate in the course. Will there be assignments related to implementing a lesson from the course at work? Certainly that is part of the idea. But Eric, I know you've been working very closely with the faculty on the playbook. Any thoughts on if people are interested in, this is a subject area they want to learn more about, maybe they're a consultant or working independently, they don't really have an organization. How can they think about this course and applying these concepts in the playbook and other parts of the course? I'm going to put you on the spot, Eric, of that.
Yeah, sure. No, the playbook, some of the language is built around an organization, but we've certainly considered people who are self-employed and consultants and not currently associated with an organization or just a very small organization, a partnership or whatnot. And it certainly can be filled out from any of those perspectives. I mean, even just from an individual at home, working from a home office, you're your only employee. What can you do, and what are you doing right, and what are you doing wrong? So the playbook, really is in that way a one-size-fits-all exercise, because the point of it is to take the lessons and this information that the faculty are teaching you and to customize it to yourself and your experience. So it will certainly accommodate a broad range of experiences and situations.
Great. Thank you, Eric. Okay. All right. So Susan is asking about, will the course help in developing or performing a security risk assessment or an enterprise risk assessment? And certainly the course does touch on risk assessment, especially in, I believe it's module 3, that really focuses on how to think about risk, gives you some ideas about how to measure risk. Eric, any other thoughts on security risk assessment, enterprise risk assessment, and how this course would help somebody like Susan who's thinking about really developing those risk assessments?
Yeah, I think if you're solely focused, the modules sort of build on each other, and the playbook assignments do too. So, we cover risk in module 3, but it comes back. And as in the ensuing modules, as we talk about, various strategies and how, what factor does risk play in cybersecurity culture and in ethics. And so, so I think it certainly could. I would suggest this, this person asking the question might want to, look through the brochure and look at what's covered in each module and see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. And we've got another question about, will it help IT auditing? And Raghu, I have to say, I'm not entirely sure what you mean by will it help IT auditing? I mean, certainly it'll give you some ideas about what your IT department can and should be doing around cybersecurity. So in that sense, it will help you understand what are the steps your IT department could be taking. I'm not sure if that's the question that you're asking, though. So if you want to clarify that, we're happy to take another look at it. Paul is asking about, does the course cover cybersecurity infrastructure knowledge for managers? And here I think this goes back to the layers of defense that we talk about in the course, and sort of what are those different layers of defense. I think that's one way of thinking about infrastructure. So you can understand as a manager, what do we have, what should we have around infrastructure. Again, it's not a technical course, so we don't get into a lot of the technical aspects of that infrastructure, but we do help you understand what the various components of that infrastructure might be. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Let's see. Elizabeth is asking about some of the other frameworks that are out there. The course does really focus on the NIST framework, and because that is a generally accepted framework that's out there. To my knowledge, the other ones that you ask about, the ISO, High Trust, and SOC for cybersecurity, are not really a part of the course. However, that's something that our course our learning facilitators might be able to react to, or your other participants on a discussion board. So again, one of the benefits of a course like this is bringing together people from all over the world with a common interest. And we often find that these types of questions and discussions really blossom in this kind of environment, because you do have people that are looking at things from a number of angles. So how are we doing on time? So we've got a few more minutes left. Srinivas is asking, is there a chance of not getting a certificate? The answer to that would honestly be yes, there is, if you don't engage with the material. So as Eric outlined, there are some required activities that you have to do in order to get the certificate. And so we do look for the engagement in those activities. Again, we're not trying to evaluate or measure how much you've learned. We mostly want to see that you're engaging with the material week after week, thinking about it. And that's what we're trying to encourage you to do in order to get the certificate. Okay. Great. Let's see. All right. In order to okay. Bella, Jamie is asking if you could elaborate a little bit more on what people have to do to get an executive certificate. You need to have 4 courses such as this one. One of them has to be taken on campus. Jamie's just hoping for a little bit of elaboration on that. I'm not sure what else there is to say, but if you can, and Jamie, maybe if you could type in a more specific question for Bella, so she can make sure she's answering your query.
Yeah, Jamie, I'm not sure exactly what you're looking for. we offer, I think, over 40 programs on campus, and a growing portfolio of online programs. And so in order to complete or to achieve an executive certificate, you would need to take 4 programs. 3 of those programs need to be focused in one of our tracks. That's strategy and innovation, technology, operations and value chain management, and management and leadership. And then of those 4 also, one of them needs to be completed on campus. And so this program, Cybersecurity for Managers, counts in the management and leadership track. So you could either pursue an executive certificate within that track, or you could use this program as one of your outside of track programs, and then pivot and choose a different program. This is explained really well on our website with sort of breaking down all of the programs we offer into the different tracks. So I'm happy to share a link in the chat box. And certainly I'm happy to connect offline if you'd like to learn a little bit more about it.
Great. And it looks like Jamie is wondering a little bit about, like, if you're on campus, is it for just 2 days, or do you stay for 2 months with 1 class a week? Can you just say a little bit more about what an on-campus program looks like?
Yeah, our on-campus programs are by and large much shorter. They're not week-long commitments. You come and attend for 2 to 3 days. We do have a couple of longer week-long programs, but we are not expecting participants to sort of move to Cambridge for 6 weeks and come to campus for a couple of hours each week. We do concentrate it over 2 to 3 days.
Right, because these courses, both the on-campus and the online courses, are primarily designed for working professionals. So, so we do keep that in mind in everything that we do, both online and in person. So make it reasonable for you. So, I'm noticing in the chat, John V was asking about, do employers value a certificate versus a full degree? I think one of the things we want to emphasize here is you will get a certificate that is branded MIT. You'll be able to post that on your LinkedIn profile. So this is a signal that you can send to employers, to peers and colleagues, that you've studied with faculty at MIT through an online program around these kinds of topics. So I think there certainly is a recognition of value there. So Srinivas is asking about a student badge and ID. I do not believe you get a student ID by enrolling. Oh, in the on-campus course.
No, you do not. I do want to draw the distinction that our executive education programs are non-degree programs. And so things like student badges, IDs, those are reserved for the sort of resident students who are enrolled in a degree program, so MBAs or undergrads. One of the benefits of achieving an ACE certificate, so that's 25 program days, you will have earned an email for life and associate alumni status from the Sloan School of Management. So if that's something you're interested in, that's a great benefit that the ACE offers.
That is a great benefit. So thank you for emphasizing that, Bella. That's really exciting. Okay, great. Well, I think we've worked through the questions in the Q&A box, and I'm looking at the time, and we're just about out of time, so the timing is great. I want to thank everybody for being here today. We're really excited to share this program with you. If you have more questions as you think back to this webinar, and as you're trying to make a decision, if you do have questions that that come up after the fact, please do reach out to your program advisor. They're there to help you determine if this is a good use of your precious time and resources, they can help you make the right decision. So, so they're there waiting to speak with you and to help you out with that. And we hope very much that you'll come join us on May 9th, and hope to see you there. Thanks very much, everybody.